I think we're on.
We're on. Okay, I'm going to close.
Welcome back to the show.
Welcome back! Yay! That's exciting.
This is part 2 of episode 2 of Photoshop Adventures with G and Matt.
Yay! So
what are we up to now?
We're now up to the our fun times, basically, where we just freeform for a little while, and you guys can ask questions and whatever goes, really.
And hopefully my chat doesn't time out again, so I'll actually be able to see any questions that get raised.
Yeah.
I'm sorry I missed that one before. So if you have any questions, ask them in the chat, and I'll make sure to try and answer them for you.
Yep. So earlier this evening, I was working on, we're talking about channels and stuff like that, and channel selections and all of those things. So I'm actually coming back to this image because I decided that I was going to keep working on it. So I'm just going to, and we're going to get into, I'm going to try and do some kind of compositing and stuff like that with this photograph anyway. But yeah, and I'm also, there was a question in the live feed about when can selective color be used, and there was a little bit of protest in regards to selective color, but
because it seems like a very subjective artistic choice rather than a mechanical choice.
That's it. So, but that's our ranty moment. Okay, give us a moment to rant. But anyway, but this is kind of when selective color can be used. Is what this is going to be about. Because you use kind of a form of selective color all the time. It's like all the time, all of the times when you are using the Photoshops. So at the moment I'm making a channel and stuff, I don't know, and I'm just using my dodge and burn. It's kind of, that's it really. That's good times. That's what's been happening, Matt.
Cleaning up the channel so it can be used as a selection.
That's it.
So you're looking to cut the background out of this image, is that what you're doing?
Yeah, I think so. I use it, I'm going to use it in this image actually more so that I can change my lighting a little bit behind him, because when I did kind of light it, I didn't have a third light to create a spotlight on that back wall. That kind of vignetted look, but without having it be totally, what's the word, I don't want it to go over his body at all, and I want it to be quite a controlled vignette. So I'm cutting him out so that I can get that control and do a vignette that's, nice and clean, basically, is where we're going. So I'm using like before, using a combination of brushes and dodge and burn and stuff like that to create my channel. And then, pretty much. So we sort of talked about this before, but you said, because you use alpha channels sort of all the time in gaming and things like that. So I did have a question, now it's gone out of my head. And I thought of it during the break.
When do we use alpha channels?
You use it all, because you use it for the game so that, your sprites and stuff have no background, is that correct? How does it work? Yeah, cool, sweet. Same sort of dealio.
So essentially the more white you have in the pixel in your alpha channel, the more that pixel will show through.
Yeah.
So the more black you have there, the more transparent it will be. So it can be used in things like semi-transparent, where you have say a glass effect or something like that can be used as well. So you can have completely solid pixels, completely transparent pixels, or 256 levels of anything in between.
Yep. Okay. Cool.
Depending on
and that's just your greys,
how bright the alpha channel is.
Yeah. Yep. So as we said before, grey represents what level of intensity that pixel is showing through. So when I say greys, I'm used to pronouncing it as that's your greys, but I'm meaning opacity. So Just throwing it out there. Just.
So is what you're doing here on the nose right now? You're actually painting that in manually.
Yeah, I'm painting that in manually because he was quite overexposed there. Well, overexposed on the channel anyway. He wasn't actually overexposed in the image. So yeah, I'm just colouring that in so that I have that there. Yeah. Cool. So I'm pretty happy with that. I think that's the. Oh no, wait. I'm just going to paint in down here. I did this quite roughly earlier, so I'm just kind of coming in and fixing things, fixing all my mistakes. And I keep accidentally using what is it, that blur smudgy tool or hue and saturation tool or something like that. I'm not sure what it is, but it's an annoying tool. I don't like it. That's in the way of dodge and burn. Like when you press Shift O, it'll on the menu scroll through all the tool options, and there's this one in the middle that's like a sponge. I'm trying to remember what it is right now. I should remember this. Shocking.
Smush tool?
Smudge.
Smudge? Yeah, smush? I don't know.
Hang on. Let's have a look. I need a look now. It is the sponge tool, which basically... I don't know. What's that meant to do? What is that tool meant to do? Can't imagine anybody using it.
Make this kind of like a weird, like, undefined grey.
Weird, undefined grey tool. That's what it is. I'm just going to call it.
Is it an average? Does it like average between like all of the pixels in that
Maybe.
area?
I'll see if it's... I'll check out what it's doing on the... Oh, it's like saturation, almost. It's almost doing... It is saturation. It is!
Ah, so it's like a...
saturate and desaturate.
Whacking the colour out.
There we go.
Fair enough.
That is all it does. Amazing. Okay, cool. I'm content with knowing that now. It's a really irritating tool. Just because it's right in the middle of dodge and burn, it should have its own who's midgey. Anyway, no wuckers. Alright, so as we saw, what I'm doing here is I'm just going to create a mask. So this is where I've got my alpha channels around the wrong way in colour, and I can hit Control-I on my keyboard on the mask, or I can do that on the channel as well if I want to make sure that it's got, that information in it for next time. So now I've got this, like, he's on top, and then I've got a replica of that at the bottom. I'm just going to go Layer, New Adjustment Layer Curves, and all I'm doing is kind of taking it down, and I'm looking at the edges, and you can see how he's staying nice and bright. I mean, the hair is a bit screwed up, but he's staying nice and bright, but the background's coming down. So it's a really handy tool for that sort of a situation. And then I'm going to hit E on my keyboard for eraser. I'm going to go X to turn my default colours, around. And now I'm kind of, because I didn't have lighting to create that spotlight at the time. I only have 2 lights, so I'm using that to create a vignette. And it's not going over the bottom part of his body, which is what I don't want to happen. Because I want to still keep it, I want to keep the viewer's eye kind of up here in his face, because I like his face. Harry's got a nice face. Okay, cool. So I'm pretty much working from scratch here, guys. Like, this is completely raw, like, without any work done to it yet. So you'll see there's all those little blemishes and stuff like that. These days I'm editing more with the blemishes and things. And if it was a girl, I'd be using a technique called dodge and burn to kind of fix the pores and stuff. But in this case, because it's a guy and I want to keep him all rough and good looking and stuff like that, because guys have like rad skin texture.
Ruggedly handsome.
Ruggedly handsome men. Even though, and I know Harry won't mind me saying this, but even though he looks a bit feminine in this shot. Yeah, so all I'm doing at the moment is using my L tool. So I hit L on the keyboard, and it's called, what's it called? Oh my gosh. I always just call it the L tool. I even, there we go, healing brush. Oh my gosh, that's embarrassing. I am not remembering the names of any tools tonight, or what anything does, or why it exists. It's just, Anyway, so I'm removing anything that is like a specular highlight at the moment. You may not see it. I don't know, like some of the hair's just kind of sticking out and going, hi, I exist. I'm very bright.
Yeah.
So, which can annoy the viewer's eye, a lot. It'll take you out of the situation. So
It's very obvious and kind of messy.
yeah. So this is a really simple way to kind of make your images look a little bit kind of cleaner. Is just take out those, those bits of hair that are going, hi, like this one. Oh my gosh, why is that existing? And that's in my background, so I need to come in, get rid of that from my background. And that's because I've used a hairlight, and hairlights look amazing, but, there are times.
They're not very forgiving.
They're not forgiving. They are not forgiving on stray hairs. If you have someone with lots and lots of stray hairs, just avoid that. Just don't even try. Okay, cool. So the next thing I'm going to do is I don't like those bricks being so, oh, hello, how are you today? I'm a functional brick on a wall. So I like the wall texture, so I'm just getting out that awful texture bit, and I'm once again using that same brush. And my pajamas, okay, I've got a cowsuit onesie, right, and they're really baggy, and so as I'm working, the sleeves are dragging on my graphics tablet, so if I look like a total noob while doing this, it's actually because my sleeves are getting in the way, and I'm having a brain spasm going, no, get out of the way, and trying to work at the same time, and, so...
Those bricks are kind of hard to see on the stream.
Alright, okay, well,
they are there.
They are there, okay, is zooming in helping? No, okay. Alright, that's fine. I'll work on that later. Okay, so now I'm just thinking, what would I like to do?
Can we maybe add something from another image?
Yeah.
Composite in?
Yeah, what would we like to add is the question. I have lots of stuff. Alright, so I'm working on my other screen on the other side for a second. Open up the crazy stock file of craziness and awesome. Alright.
And like we said last week, you should be collecting as many stock photos of as many different things as you possibly can.
Yeah.
Because you're never going to know when you're going to need
something.
A goldfish or, a pelican. Or anything like that.
A dog, a cat, a, piece of string. Okay. I'm just thinking, we've got this photo. I might put something on that back wall, I think. I'll put a frame on that back wall. Just it's not very interesting, is it? That's I will, because we're talking about drop shadows and stuff like that. It'll talk about drop shadows and all that jazz. Yeah.
So Jamie asks a question. He says, is there a reason why you would keep the background and not just replace it with a texture that looks more how you want it to look?
I can do that. I mean, there's no reason why I wouldn't. I just like that background. So I might bring in, what have I got? This is my, okay. So I might bring in, I don't know, here's something. This is just for the sake of it. Once again, these are clouds. They're out of focus. They look, so it's not going to matter if I size them up a bit. We talked a little bit on this last time. But, I could bring that in. But if, say this was a texture of a wall that I really liked, I could bring that in too. I'm just trying to find textures of walls that I really... Oh, hang on. Lightroom, hello, darling. Melbourne. So there's a whole lot of stock that I shot in Melbourne, which some of them are underexposed because I was having some camera issues. But it's really cool to walk around a town you don't know and take stock photos of it. It's like awesome, actually. Genuinely awesome.
Because if you're walking around places that you've lived in for 10 years, you kind of take for granted, oh yeah, that's that thing, and you're kind of not really discovering it.
Yeah, that's it.
So you're more likely to take a photo of something that you've never ever seen before.
Yeah, that's it. So yeah, and I'm exporting these as PSDs and straight into Photoshop from Lightroom. So how I did that, by the way, which is probably a handy thing to know, if you just want things to export and they open in, Photoshop, you can come down to this post-processing dialog and just hit, open in Photoshop. Yeah, and that does that, which is awesome. Then I'm going to use the, Adobe, they've now got this tabs thing, which came in a while ago, but, it drove us all crazy when it first came in. Now I love it. You can, split your view up into two, and I'm just going to drag that over. And I made this terrible, horrifying mistake of shooting this on the 7D in, in Melbourne, and I'd been at an event the night before, or something like that, and I had it on JPEG. And, no, not JPEG, sorry, I had it on, small. You know how you can have small kind of file sizes on your camera? So, yeah, it's become a problem.
Yeah,
it's now an issue. So the reason I'm just sort of joining that texture together so that there's now a big background that I'm not resizing. Cool. So, and that's got that vignette on it still, and that light. I'm not sure about that so much now. This is the cool part about layers and see-through things. Yeah, no, whatever, I'm happy with that. Okay, cool. So from here, I mean, my channels aren't perfect or anything like that.